Attention passionate Cleveland, BROWNS FANS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland, BROWNS FANS. Let's get to the news. Now folks, if you've been paying attention to the NFL landscape, especially the AFC North, you know that things are always shifting, always evolving. And the Cleveland Browns, a team that has been on the rise, is making some strategic moves that could have long-term implications. Today, we're diving into a recent development that has caught everyone's attention. Cleveland Browns claiming defensive end KJ Henry off waivers from the Philadelphia Eagles. This might seem like a small move on the surface, but when you look deeper, it could be a significant piece in Cleveland's ongoing quest to contend for a Super Bowl. Let's talk about KJ Henry. For those who might not be as familiar, Henry is a 6'4", 255-pound defensive end entering his third NFL season. He played college football at Clemson, a program known for producing NFL talent, and was originally drafted by the Washington Commanders in the 5th round of the 2023 NFL Draft. Now, being a 5th-round pick doesn't always guarantee a roster spot, but Henry has worked hard to carve out his place in the league, and he's shown flashes of potential that the Browns are clearly interested in. Over his brief career, he's appeared in 14 games with 3 starts, spanning his time with the Commanders, Bengals, and now the Cowboys before landing in Cleveland. What stands out about Henry is his size and athleticism. Standing 6'4" and weighing 255 pounds, he's got the physical tools to be a disruptive force on the defensive line. During his time in the league so far, he's accumulated 22 tackles and 25 sacks, which might not sound like eye-popping numbers, but for a player still trying to find his footing and establish consistency, they're promising. Last season, he appeared in 4 games and managed to record 3 tackles and a sack, nothing legendary, but enough to catch the attention of a team like Cleveland, who is always on the lookout for young, developing talent on the defensive front. And let's not forget that Henry spent the last part of last season on the Eagles' practice squad, which is often a sign that a player is close to contributing, but just needs the right environment to flourish. The Browns see that potential, and with their defensive line always being a point of focus, especially given the importance of pass rush in today's NFL, bringing in a player like Henry makes a lot of sense. He's still young, hungry, and eager to prove himself, and the Browns are known for giving opportunities to players in that position. What does this move really mean for the Browns? Well, first, it adds depth to their defensive end rotation. Last season, Cleveland's pass rush was solid, but they could always benefit from more explosive talent. Henry has the upside to develop into a more consistent threat on the edge. His youth and athleticism give him a high ceiling, and with the coaching staff's emphasis on developing defensive linemen, there's every chance he could grow into a more prominent role this season. Plus, his presence on the roster sends a message about the Browns' mindset. This team is committed to building a competitive, versatile defense. They want players who can adapt, learn, and contribute in multiple situations. Henry fits that mold, especially considering his experience in different NFL schemes. He's been with the Commanders, Bengals, Cowboys, and now the Browns, which means he's been exposed to varying coaching styles and defensive philosophies. That kind of background can be invaluable, especially when integrating into a team that values adaptability and high football IQ. Now, let's look at the bigger picture. The Browns, under head coach Kevin Stefanski, have been steadily trending upward. They've built a solid core of young talent, including stars like Myles Garrett, one of the premier pass rushers in the league, and a versatile secondary. But adding a young pass rusher like Henry is about more than just depth. It's about creating competition within the roster. That competition pushes players to perform at their best, and it keeps the team sharp heading into the grueling NFL season. It's also worth noting that Cleveland has been trying to bolster its pass rush, especially in the wake of some inconsistent performances last year. For example, players like Garrett have been dominant, but the team has sometimes lacked that second reliable edge rusher to complement him. Bringing in Henry could be part of a broader strategy to develop that second threat on the line. If he can tap into his potential and develop further, perhaps refining his pass rushing moves, improving his strength against the run, he could become an important rotational piece or even push for starting snaps. And let's not forget the division rival implications. The AFC North is one of the most physically demanding and competitive divisions in the league. The Steelers, Ravens, and Bengals all have formidable defenses. The Browns' ability to generate pressure on opposing quarterbacks can be a decisive factor in close games, especially when playoff spots are on the line. Henry's addition might be small in terms of name recognition, but it's a strategic move aimed at gaining that extra edge in the trenches. Looking deeper into his playing style, Henry is known for his explosiveness coming off the snap and his ability to get around the edge. While he still needs to refine his technique, like all young players, his athletic traits give him a high upside. Cleveland's defensive coaching staff, known for their focus on developing pass rushers, could be the perfect environment for him to develop into a more consistent contributor. Watching his progression through training camp and preseason will be interesting, especially to see how he adapts to the Browns' defensive schemes. Now, let's talk about the team's current roster and what this move signifies overall. The Browns have been building a roster that balances veteran experience with young talent. They have a solid linebacker group and a secondary that has improved year after year. But the real key to their success remains in the trenches. If they can get a consistent pass rush, they'll have a much better chance to contend in the AFC, which is arguably the most stacked conference in the league right now. This move to claim KJ Henry also shows the Browns' commitment to maximizing their roster flexibility. With training camp underway and preseason games approaching, every roster move counts. They're looking for players who can develop into key contributors, not just fill spots. Henry's youth and potential make him an intriguing project for the coaching staff, and if he responds well, he could be a name to watch during camp and beyond. From a fan perspective, this signing sparks a lot of excitement. Browns fans love to see their team investing in young talent, especially on defense, which has been a cornerstone of their recent success. The hope is that Henry can develop into a reliable pass rusher and help elevate the team's overall defensive performance. With the right development, he could become part of a formidable front that makes opposing quarterbacks think twice before dropping back to pass. And speaking of the division, the AFC North is always full of surprises. The Ravens and Bengals have strong defenses, and the Steelers are always competitive on that side of the ball. Cleveland's move to bring in a player like Henry is a signal that they're not content with just being good. They want to be great. They're aiming for that next step, that playoff run, and ultimately, a shot at the Super Bowl. Every addition counts, especially those that can grow into impactful players. In terms of the season ahead, Browns fans should keep an eye on Henry during training camp. Watch how he adapts to the defensive schemes, how he works with the coaching staff, and whether he can carve out a role for himself in the rotation. The coaching staff has a reputation for developing young talent, and Henry's raw athleticism gives him a real shot to make an impact sooner rather than later. Of course, this move also fits into the broader narrative of the Browns' recent offseason strategy, adding youth, depth, and competition. They've been active in free agency and draft, always looking for ways to improve their roster. Bringing in Henry is another piece of that puzzle, a gamble that could pay dividends if he reaches his potential. So in summary, Cleveland Browns fans, this claim of KJ Henry may seem like a minor roster move on the surface, but when you analyze the bigger picture, it's a calculated step towards building a more dynamic and versatile defense. It reflects the team's commitment to growth, to developing young talent, and to creating a roster capable of competing at the highest level. With Henry's athletic gifts and the Browns' coaching staff's development prowess, this could be a move that pays off big in the long run. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this move? Do you see Henry becoming a key part of the Browns' pass rush this season? Are you excited about his potential? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion really matters to us and to the future of this team. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Cleveland Browns news. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Browns!